talk ship. Resilient Lady was built by Fincantieri in 2022 and is based off of the wildly popular Project Miele cruise ship platform. She also joins her sisters Scarlet Lady and Valiant Lady at Virgin Voyages. And whilst Resilient Lady isn't breaking any size records, there's still plenty to see and do. So let's head on board and take a good look around Resilient Lady. At the heart of the ship, you'll find the roundabout, which offers easy access to most of the ship's public spaces. This is Virgin's take on a cruise ship atrium, and it's also the place where you get the first feeling that Virgin does things really differently. This part of the ship is full of space-age design elements and mood lighting. It feels more like an upmarket hotel versus a boring old cruise ship lobby, and I have to say I really like what Virgin did with this part of the ship. You can find the roundabout located on Deck 6 and Deck 7. Starting on Deck 5, you'll have access to Sailor Services, Pink Agave, Razzle Dazzle, and the Redemption Spa. Pink Agave is one of the 5 complimentary restaurants you'll have access to. It's also home to the ship's elevated Mexican dining. The menu here was one of my favourites on board, and the Central American inspired cocktails were amazing too. Razzle Dazzle, which is also located on Deck 5, is home to plant-based dining on board Resilient Lady. And if you're a bit of a ship nerd like me, you'll definitely love the interiors of Razzle Dazzle. And don't forget, you'll also have access to Sailor Services and the Redemption Spa from Deck 5 as well. Although I didn't get to the spa this time, it's on the top of my list to do on my next Virgin Voyages trip. Let's head up to Deck 6 and take a look around there as well. This is where you'll find many of Resilient Lady's dining, retail and entertainment options. The Red Room is home to Virgin Voyages' unique entertainment and original shows. The shows were distinctive and unlike anything else I'd seen before. They were also of a really high quality and I loved that. The theatre is also unique in the fact that it can be transformed from sitting to standing in a matter of moments, depending on the content. And also, do yourself a favour and make sure you catch Persephone if you're ever sailing on Resilient Lady. It's amazing. Right next door to the Red Room is the casino, which also happens to lead to one of my favourite places on the Resilient Lady, the Manor. Possibly the most Instagrammable place on board Resilient Lady is the Manor. The Happenings team on Resilient Lady also throw amazing parties which are often hosted in the Manor. But if you're not dancing your night away here, you can catch a few amazing shows. The Manor is also home to Lola's Library, which is a cabaret style show. Make sure you see it, it's amazing. At the heart of the ship, you can find On the Rocks. This was the perfect spot to catch a live performer or grab a drink before heading to dinner or another show. Also, if you're wanting to shop up a storm, Deck 6 is for you as well. So let's take a look around the High Street precinct. Here you'll also have access to the hair salon, a barber, and you can even grab a tattoo from Squid Ink. If you're anything like me, you would have spent all of your money in the Virgin Voyages merchandise store. I mean, take a look at this stuff. The ship models, they're amazing. There's 3 different types of them. It's everything you could ever want. And no, if you're wondering, I wasn't able to take a model home. It was simply too big to take back to Australia, and my suitcase was at its brim at this point. So if you're watching this Virgin Voyages, feel free to send one my way. You'll also find the High Street precinct here on Deck 6 as well. It features a bunch of designer goodies and also any essentials you might need on board as well. Just a reminder though, it's only open on sea days, and if you have a port heavy itinerary, you might not have a lot of time to shop up a storm. If you're feeling particularly adventurous, you can try out Test Kitchen as well. The excellent Virgin Voyages staff will guide you through a culinary journey that's unlike anything else. And if you wish, you can add a cocktail pairing, which just adds to the fun. It's definitely a fun and interesting concept, and the service here is excellent. You'll also have access to Extra Virgin as well, which is the ship's elevated Italian dining. I wasn't a huge fan of Extra Virgin, only because they forgot our main meals and it was 10:30 at night, so we ended up leaving because we had other plans. And if you head to Deck 6 aft, you'll find the wake. Not this one though, this one. The wake is an incredibly lush and rich looking venue. The interior design is very reminiscent of the golden era of ocean liner travel, and what's not to love about that? The service in the wake is impeccable, and you even have the opportunity to have fresh produce prepared at the table. And as with all restaurants on board Resilient Lady, you need to use the app to book your dining slot. And from my experience, the wake is very popular. So that means prior to your sailing, keep your eyes peeled on the app for when restaurant bookings become available. But now I think it's time we head up to Deck 7 and take a look around there. And when you're moving around Resilient Lady, you have the choice of one of these funky looking lifts or these rather bland looking staircases. The choice is yours. First stop at Deck 7 is the Sip Bar. It is the perfect place to grab a drink before heading to dinner or catching a show. Moving aft, you'll find Resilient Lady's pizza place and her onboard ice cream store as well. And the pizza's available well into the early hours of the morning. This is especially handy to know if you're planning on having a big evening. Located adjacent to the pizza place is Lick Me Tiller ice cream. And just a handy tip for you, the ice cream on board is complimentary as well. Taking a step outside on Deck 7 will lead you to these large open sun terraces. This also joins on to a promenade which runs the circumference of the ship. However, you might be disappointed to find out that the promenade runs directly behind the lifeboats. It completely obscures the sea view. Another thing that blocks the sea view here are these rather intense looking rails. Nevertheless though, it's not going to ruin your holiday and it's still a great place to chill out. Moving back inside, you'll find the Grounds Club, which is a cute little coffee spot, and you'll also find the Social Club. The board game library is huge and of an extremely high quality as well. It's also clear that the crew maintain these board games and keep things in shipshape. You can also grab yourself some food or drink, especially if you're hungry after playing all of those board games. Or maybe you're just like me and you're a sore loser, so you'll need a drink afterwards. And just a few steps away, you also have access to a full arcade. Just across the road from the arcade is the Loose Cannon. Its location is kind of hidden away, but once again, I think Virgin did a great job with the interiors. And of course, 10 points for the nautical theming here as well. Next up is the Dock House, which is a Mediterranean themed eatery. This part of the ship definitely felt like a luxe beach club, but I did find some of the furniture choices interesting. Mostly these large day beds which just kind of stick out in the middle of nowhere, but otherwise it's a super chilled place to hang out. And the Dock House also happens to be the gateway to one of my favourite spots on Resilient Lady. Perched high above the stern of Resilient Lady is the dock. The dock is an absolute yacht club paradise. And it also happens to be my absolute favourite spot to hang out on board. They also serve Mediterranean meze here, which is freaking delicious. Combine that with sunset views and live music, and it's a winning combination if you ask me. Heading up to deck 15, you'll find Resilient Lady's controversial swimming pool. I really wanted to love the pool area on Resilient Lady, but let's face it, that pool is tiny. It's pretty hard to believe that this single pool serves over 2,700 people at full capacity. Don't worry though, even if you are sharing the pool with 2,700 of your closest shipmates, you're still guaranteed to have a good time. And just next door, you'll find Swim and Tonic. There's a couple of relatively small whirlpools here, and one kind of large communal room temperature whirlpool that sits in the middle. It's definitely an interesting choice of layout. I feel pretty neutral about it. I don't love it, but I definitely don't hate it either. And don't worry, if you're looking for some gym time, Virgin definitely has you covered. Health and fitness clearly are a big priority at Virgin, and you'll find gyms surrounding both sides of Swim and Tonic. Let's talk about the galley, which is Resilient Lady's almost buffet. You can view the menu on your phone from a QR code, and then one of the crew will come around and take your order. The menu looks just like this, and it has a fairly good selection of items. A big positive about this concept is that it really reduces food wastage, and I think that's a great thing. However, the service can be a little bit clunky, especially when separate items are coming out at wildly different times. Oh, and definitely don't forget, soft drink is free flowing on Virgin Voyages as well. And just next door you'll find Gunbae, which is the Korean barbecue experience on board Resilient Lady. You'll be dining with other guests, but not to worry because the crew introduce you to a few games that really loosen up the mood. This was one of my favourite dining experiences on Resilient Lady, and if I went on Virgin Voyages again, this would be a top priority. Heading outside on Deck 16, you'll really get a taste of Virgin Voyages' fitness obsession. There's tons of workout equipment and even a miniature basketball court. There's also a million spots if you just want to chill out in the sun or even go for a little swing. And you even have the opportunity to purchase a cabana for the day, but if you ask me, they didn't look that great. Not to mention, they're kinda isolated and I feel like they'd be really hot under the sun. There's also 2 small whirlpools up here, a bar, and Virgin Voyage's famous net which is cantilevered over the back of the ship. Although to be honest, it's a little bit of a gimmick and I wouldn't really spend any time laying on this or anything like that. And last but not least, on Deck 17, you'll find the perch and the runway. The perch is an open meditation space and it's kind of underutilized. However, you'll find the runway sees a lot more foot traffic. And not to mention, this is the coolest cruise ship running track I've ever seen. There's a lot that Virgin Voyages gets right, like their amazing staff and excellent entertainment. And if they fix up a few little details here and there, Virgin Voyages and Resilient Lady could possibly be one of the best cruise ships out there. I really hope you enjoyed this short, casual tour on board Resilient Lady. So thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.